Hey, happy Friday, everybody.
Morning.
Happy
Morning.
Friday.
Morning.
Happy Friday.
Morning.
Um,
Happy Friday.
so, Frank, is it still a happy Friday in the finance world?
Well, it was happy Thursday and it's somewhat of a okay Friday. Just when we think we're on a roll with rates coming down, the good old unemployment numbers came out this morning and put a little damper on our parade. So unemployment numbers, they were looking for 169,000. They came in at an adjusted number of the month, about 143,000. Um, Unemployment numbers, unemployment rate ticked down a little bit to 4%, which that's a sign that hopefully we'll start to see some Fed cuts this year, but I guess it's a wait and see game. The good thing is the small businesses had adjusted some numbers. I think last month the small businesses, which makes up a good percentage of the labor force, had a increase of about 15 or 18,000 jobs, and then last month I think they came in at adding about 39,000 more jobs to the market. So the small businesses are a good indication of what's to come. So hopefully things will happen, on the right side. But listen, rates are still good. Let's just keep the roll going and let's sell some houses. So far so good.
And Frank, what's the 30-year fix for perfect credit, 20% down today?
So yesterday I locked in somebody with I think an 813 credit score with 20% down, and I locked them in at 6.9%. So it's still that 6.75% to 7.25% range, depending upon whether it's a government loan or a conventional loan. So if we just say the rates are at 7%, just give or take, that's a good indication of what we can see. The lower credit scores, obviously, you're going to look at more like the 7.25% range. So still in that 7% range, which is what we've been riding for the last couple months.
Fantastic.
So that's
All right, all right, everybody. So
Hey, Rob,
today,
before you get started, could I just make one public service announcement
absolutely.
quickly? It pertains mostly to New Jersey agents, but the auto seminar, OTTEAU, is coming up on March 11th. And this is a Zoom, it's being done by Zoom. And I've always found it a great place to get information and even verbiage on how to speak to both buyers and sellers to let them know what's going on in the marketplace, particularly in New Jersey. So if you're interested in that, just go to otteau.com and you'll be able to sign up for it. Thank you.
Fantastic. And I know in Arizona, there's a report that you guys and gals follow. Wilson, what is that report?
It's actually mainly for the Phoenix Scottsdale area, but it's the Cromford report.
Okay, the Cromford report. So that's put in the message there. And how about our Florida folks? Do we have a go-to resource for not only accumulating the data, but for giving us opinions and forecasts for the Florida group? Anybody have anything there?
Florida Realtors puts out a report. Actually, they put it out today about our business last year and what we're looking forward to this year.
And fantastic. And I see Lisa's on with her camera. Being that we have the auto report, Lisa had the Rob report, right? You unmute yourself there with what we learned together.
Oh, regarding having a pool and not having a pool?
And that pricing, like the whole gamut, right?
Oh, yes, pricing correctly is the most important thing because you get less the longer it stays on the market. Typically
Right.
after 21 days, you get less.
So in every example, I don't know if Sandra is on or Nicole or Janine, but those are all people that I helped in the past week. And we did an analysis, and it shows an undeniable relationship between days on market and sales price. And, I think sometimes we struggle getting our sellers to make the right choice because they're relying upon our words as opposed to, our undeniable data. So if you care, I'm going to be systematizing this more because I think it's incredibly important. And not only do I believe it helps, Lisa and everybody that has reached out, but I know that it helps our clients make better decisions. So it all comes together. So
you, Rob.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Rob. I appreciate your help.
Oh, no worries. So maybe you can pay it forward to a colleague, or at least show them what you did and how it works, because and I actually had the same conversation with somebody else, when I was down just on Wednesday about the value of a pool and how much it costs to put in, and the fact that even though it might only cost you $70,000 to put it in, it's north of $100,000 in resale value in the examples we looked at. So I think that's helpful. And they were like, well, why don't I just go and put a pool in? I'm like, you can do that, but I think people that want to buy a $1 million+ house, they don't want to start their home ownership journey with a big muddy backyard and dealing with contractors. So that's my 2 cents on that after a thorough analysis. Today we're going to talk about perseverance, okay, and sheer determination, and how that helps us to get where we need to be. Many of you, if you have your camera on, if you're on Path to Platinum, raise your hand. All right, so we have a high turnout, a high group there of participants in Path to Platinum. There's a saying, and I learned it in this business, but it goes, what's it? Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Right? Does that make sense? So hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And that is so true. And if you're working hard, you're going to basically build up your skill set regardless. So this is inspiration for those who are working in areas where maybe you don't have #1 market share and you're competing against, some of the higher performers. Well, hard work will beat talent if talent's not working hard. Ryan, you raised your hand. Ryan, did you have a question? Okay, no worries. So anyway, the inspiration for today's session is kind of what my core beliefs are, and kind of extending those to all of the family, everybody that's given me an hour of your time to talk about perseverance and determination. And I want to share with you something that I played with and I learned this week in my journey here, which is really, shame on me that I haven't been using it before. But who's been using like Copilot or ChatGPT like more than once a week? And Wilson, what do you use it for?
I use ChatGPT for everything. Responding to text messages, writing emails, bodies of listings. God, I used it for a eulogy the other day.
So look at this is something that I was just playing around with, and a big shout out to Sal Petrosino from Morristown, because I spent a few minutes with him when I was up in the office, and he was showing me how he uses Copilot, and it is so simple, and it is so amazing. So just for today, I I had Copilot write this. Let's see if on the bottom it's. So basically, I wrote, give me some examples about, how perseverance and determination, achievements through perseverance and determination. Then I said, remove this example, add this example, and it just writes it up so quickly, and it's pretty darn high quality, right? One of the most iconic examples of perseverance leading to a groundbreaking invention is Thomas Edison's development of the incandescent light bulb. Edison's journey was far from smooth. He faced countless failures and setbacks. It's said that he conducted over 1,000 experiments before finally achieving success. When asked about his numerous failures, Edison famously replied, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This relentless pursuit of his goal led to the creation of a practical and long-lasting light bulb, revolutionizing the way people lived and worked. Like, this whole entire thing was created by just putting it into Copilot. And I also had a referral come in from one of your colleagues that asked me to direct somebody for relocating from overseas to the US for a pharmaceutical business. Let me see if I have that one here. This might be it. So here, benefits and drawbacks of opening a pharmaceutical company in New York City, Jersey City, or South Beach, Miami. And it did this whole thing by just putting that into this little box here. Who has Copilot and uses that? Anybody?
I do.
Colleen, anybody else use Copilot?
Just Chat GPT.
So if you have Microsoft 365, it's free, and you put it in the Word document, and it's so easy to play around with that I would really encourage you to play around with it, maybe for writing descriptions. There's just so many things that you can do that, and then you can always make changes to it, like make it more formal, or introduce some humor to the conversation. So anyhow, that's one of my tips for today. And then
Yeah, in Copilot, it asks you if you want it formal, traditional, humorous. So it gives you a choice and then, spits out.
So I think a mindset, or something that maybe you should write on your something that goes with your affirmations is the phrase "hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard," to keep you motivated. And that wasn't part of this. That's just something that's in my head. Okay, that I just always remember that. It's like having somebody with a lot of talent that doesn't have the discipline. Okay, they're going to fail. So if you just embrace the principles of path to platinum, or time blocking and doing the things that you need to do, and you never quit. Okay, perseverance and determination. Those words were chosen particularly because our business is not an A&E episode where in an hour we get a $2 million listing. That's not how it works, right? There's a lot of grind, a lot of grit. There's a lot of failure to success. There's a lot of determination. There's a lot of persevering through particular challenges. If you're a condo specialist in Florida, are there any challenges for us there? Anybody?
Come on, guys, speak up.
Yeah, lots.
Yes,
I
the
just wrote
challenge.
I just wrote a contract on one, and the addendums and everything going through, and the milestone and the inspections and the integrity report and everything that came through was just insane. It was 600 pages total by the time we got done with the contract, the addendums, the association, the rules and bylaws, and all the inspection reports. And one of the thing on the inspection reports was that there were so many misspellings, like even the word mitigation, it was so misspelled that when I first looked at it, I didn't even know what it was. So working with condos right now, it took 6 days to put this contract together. So
there's challenges, right? And then, there's opportunities because, the market, the condo owners that need to sell, need more of you, Deb. They need people who can make it, who can make those transactions certain, right? Or at least take the right steps. Because a lot of the industry and more so the public is completely confused. Okay, they're uncertain, and a lot of times when I'm in Florida, I get questions from your colleagues saying, hey, is it a good time to buy now, or is it a time to wait and see what happens? And this is where I believe that this is not the time. It's not a good time or a bad time. It's a time for us to identify the benefits, the risks, the threats, the opportunities of entering into a marketplace that's unbalanced. If that makes any sense, right?
yep.
When you talk about, perseverance and determination, I'm looking at my Hollywood Square in the middle for me. I see Abe Himmelstein there, who that man never quits, right?
You know what they say? Never give up. Those who fail to plan to fail. Well, I don't plan to fail.
Winners never win, winners never quit, all the cliches, right?
You said, you know what? Every day I wake up with following philosophy. What am I doing today to create a possibility? That's my start.
Yeah. So,
1 crown. 4 band.
let me just mute everybody here for a sec.
1 band.
So, is there anybody from Path to Platinum that is time blocking for calling and wants to share what that looks like? Your result? Go ahead, Tyler. Wilson.
Yeah, I've time blocked for not only calls but also door knocking, and it's turned into 3 possible listings, a buyer representation, and multiple conversations. So, but I set it up 3 days a week. I have those days that I'm out either door knocking or both.
And do you get a lot of failure along the way?
My first day kind of inspired me to keep going because I did 10 door knocks so 20 door knocks, and I had 15 conversations. But since then, I haven't hit those numbers. It's been about 3 or 4 conversations. So a lot of rejection, a lot of please don't come back. But it actually works out well because the conversations that I do have are good.
All a numbers game.
Yeah.
Yeah, no matter how skilled you get, the business is always, it's a numbers game. It's a scheduling game. I'm trying to think, I think it was Verl Workman when I went to, he did a team certification, right? And I always have certain aha moments from my experiences. And his comment, which I will never forget from that session, was, show me your calendar, I can predict your bank account. You might want to write that down. Show me your calendar, I can predict your bank account. Right? Because if you're not, if the calendar runs you and you don't run your calendar, your bank account's going to be up and down. But if you have that calendar and you have time blocked, you're going to be, you're going to be predictably successful. Okay. Another, just while I'm talking about like these mindsets that are I guess, anchored into my my belief systems. Another one is you become the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. You become the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with, right? And that was from a 5-day session with Tony Robbins' Business Mastery. Okay, you become the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. And for those of you who've never been to Tony Robbins' Business Mastery, it's $10,000 to go. It's 7 days of intense immersion with Tony. And who's been to a Tony Robbins event? All right. So Tiffany, when does he usually start in the morning? You're on mute.
He's an early. It's very early and it's a very long day.
So at
And it's
Business
freezing
Mastery,
cold in there too. It's very cold in there. I don't know if that's a tactic.
he doesn't want you to sleep. But at Business Mastery, we started at 8 o'clock in the morning, and there were some days that we didn't finish until 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And I swear, I think the man is superhuman, because I don't know. I've seen him up there for 5-6 hours, not drink water, not go to the bathroom, just be passionate the entire run
Yeah,
about what he's talking about.
It's amazing. Everyone should definitely visit one of his seminars.
Yeah, and the other thing that this is going to save you is like a free $10,000. It's not as good as Tony Robbins, but this is another huge, massive takeaway that he kept repeating. You ready? You should write this one down. Business is math. Undeniably, business is math. You know, when a business reports its results, it's all numbers, ladies and gentlemen. It's not emotion. It's not, hey, I feel like I'm doing better. It's, here's what we did. Here's what we're doing now. And here's what we forecast for the future. And it's all math. And if you think about how these big entities are able to forecast what the next quarter is going to be, they basically go down the line and they ask, hey, the 10 people under you, what are they going to deliver? And then those 10 people under them, what are you going to deliver? And that's the math of running the business. And you're in a business where it's all about math as well. Okay, you can predict what's going to happen. And I know I always, I'm sure there are others that do this, but I always look at somebody like a Glenn Baker who's got it up front and center in his office, what's going on, what are the levers that are driving the business, right? How are we doing on making the calls? How are we doing on making the conversations? How many, Glenn, is there 7 or 9 things that you measure?
3 things.
I thought there were more circles on your big TV there.
Oh, there are, but only 3 things move the needle. So we only really discuss those 3. Closings happen if you do the 3.
What are the 3 that you measure?
Conversations, appointments set, appointment met. That's all that matters.
So the calls don't matter because the conversations tell the tale, right?
They do.
And is there a huge difference, Glenn, between your average and your top performer in terms of 5 conversations equal 1 closing, 5 conversations, 25 conversations equal 1 closing, or is it pretty standard?
No, conversion varies quite a bit between the 2, and you have to measure it, because if you have conversations and make no appointments, you're clearly bad at moving the needle, right? And if you have appointments set and you're not meeting, then you're not qualifying, right? So you have to work through that.
So you pretty much have a benchmark that if somebody's having a lot of appointments but no listings, or a lot of conversations but no appointments, what you need to work on, right?
Yep. And a new agent will be at about 1% conversion, and a experienced agent will be between 5 and 8%.
Fantastic. Before I go into the second half today, I wanted to see if anybody has any perseverance and sheer determination stories that aren't like, hey, I knocked on 2 doors and I got a listing. Anybody have any of those stories that you want to share before I kind of go into part 2 of our session today? Because I know you do.
Yeah, I have one. I have had a seller who I've been talking to for literally almost 4 years. Really blew me off on a listing. I got to refer to someone else. That person couldn't deliver. So then when I switched to Remax, he said, give you a shot. I got it under contract in 7 days, and he was kicking himself saying, I should have listed with you sooner.
All right. Well, why don't you also introduce and tell us what office you're from so everybody gets to know who's speaking.
Yeah, this is Jose Reyes. I'm with the celebration office with Chris. Been in real estate for 5 years now.
Fantastic. Well, welcome to the family.
Thank you.
And we'll take one other example. So somebody got Tammy got 2 listings. You know, if you're shy, you're not going to get all the benefit. So somebody give me another example.
I just, it's not a listing, but the other day I was making call after call. I think I did like 60 calls, and I was just getting ready to close up for the day, and for some reason I looked down and I saw this number that I hadn't seen before, and I said, well, what the hell, I'll call. Ended up having about a 15-minute conversation with the person. Haven't got an appointment with them yet, but they are interested in me trying to find them a home, and their budget was up to $1.7 million. So I was happy that I was able to have that conversation, and hopefully that turns fruitful.
Yeah, we had one, we were calling the other day, early evening, and just about my last call, I made the call, it was a cold call. So I asked the owner if he was thinking about moving. He goes, I'm not, but my neighbor is. I says, really? I says, do you have his address? He goes, yeah, let me check. He walked outside with his cell phone, gave me the address, called the owner, got a listing appointment next week.
Fantastic.
And now I'm wondering if you liked his neighbor or not.
So that's Mr. Sal. Hey, Sal, thanks for sharing with me how you use the Copilot. It's addictive. You just should have a warning on it.
You are very welcome. I encourage everyone to use Copilot if you don't have it, or some sort of AI, especially if you're scrubbing a document or letters you want to send out. It is incredible. You can push it to its limits. You could say things like, give me 3 examples of great letters to send someone who's looking to sell their house in June. I mean, the time you could save on it is just off the charts. If you're not using it, you're struggling.
And if you use Google, the Google version is Gemini. So there's Gemini, Copilot, and ChatGPT, all 3.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. I think the Google one got off to a slow start. Have you been using that, Alina?
Yeah, it's that same functionality. Most of it, I do a lot of the audio. Instead of typing the questions, you can do audio, and it pre-populates your verbiage, and it's less typing.
Okay. So the second part of this perseverance and determination conversation. Okay. We all know the examples. We all know the mindset. The David Bannister mindset is one that really comes to mind in terms of, how our own mind, influences what we believe and we can and can't do. Right. And the example with David Bannister was, I'm going to be accurate with it, see if the Copilot got everything right here. Oh, it was Roger Bannister. So Roger Bannister's achievement of breaking the 4-minute mile barrier is a shining example of what can be accomplished through perseverance and determination. For years, it was believed that no human can run a mile under 4 minutes. However, Bannister, a medical student, was determined to prove otherwise. He meticulously trained and refined his techniques, balancing his studies with rigorous workouts. On May 6, 1954, Bannister made history by running the mile in 3 minutes and 59.4 seconds. His groundbreaking achievement not only shattered a long-held belief, but also inspired countless athletes to push their limits and strive for greatness. And I believe it was broken like 20 times, within the next 2 or 3 years, which is where the belief system comes into play. And that's what I'm going to tie into my next statement. And I'm going to give you examples of how this can be anchored into your belief system. And let's see here. Hold on. So let me just find. Okay, so I'll just run this alone. So if you get a listing, right, and you have the right strategy for taking a listing, and you employ, the fundamental beliefs of always preparing and being honest, what's the likelihood that your listing is going to sell? Rob Durso, you get a listing from a reasonable homeowner, and you put it on the market. Like, what's the probability or betting odds that it's going to sell?
Almost 100%.
Right, it's virtually 100%, right? And why is that?
Because you have a ready, willing, and able seller who is informed and educated and is willing to listen and understand and communicate.
And Rob, what happens if there's a cracked foundation?
Redress it. It's a bump in the road.
Right, but you see how certain that answer was, right? And I think a lot of us, have the skills to come up with the valuation of a property when we launch it on the market. And almost all of us have the confidence and the skills to take that to the finish line. Okay, but here's where I see a tremendous opportunity. Okay, how many of us have buyers that are tentative, or that come to us and they want to buy a property? We've mastered the art of demonstrating our value and getting the buyer's agency agreement signed. I'm going to ask you, Mr. Durso, how about not you, but most agents in your office, they get a buyer's agency agreement. What's the probability that they're going to close on a purchase?
Based on the people we have with us right now, I believe that's a high probability that it's going to happen.
Is it between 50 and 70%?
I would say it's 70 or better.
So I would respectfully say that it's probably lower than that, because I see all the loops that haven't closed. And I don't mean to be critical, but what I'm saying is that same certainty that we have when we're launching a listing, we need to have that same determination, perseverance, and certainty when we work with a buyer. And there's different challenges, because it's not like we have one home that we need to present to the universe, right? We need to focus in, what they're looking for, so that they have an irresistible opportunity to move forward. Okay. And here's something that I think is a challenge for us. And I'm gonna have a conversation with you, Rob. It's for everybody. Okay. What do you think a lot of agents that are representing buyers see their value proposition to be?
I'm noticing that they see it as less than they used to.
I mean, would you say that a lot of the buyer's agents want to be a hero and try to negotiate the best price for somebody on something?
It depends on the agent, but I would say they're more inclined to make it look that way, yeah.
So I think a lot of us, identify our value with being able to negotiate down the price. And in New Jersey, that's really hard, even in this market. Okay, what you need to refocus your talent on is trying to figure out what the competition level is and getting them to be, a small amount higher than that competition, and to sell the merits of your offer. Okay, because negotiating the best deal for somebody that's homeless is not a good deal. Okay. I got a call this morning from one of my wife's colleagues who bought a property. I think it was under 2 years ago. They paid $415 for it. They put 3% down, and now they just got their PMI removed because the property appraised for $580. I'll repeat that. Less than 2 years ago, they paid $415. Today, they just got their PMI waived because it appraised for $580. Now, and that was from somebody in your office there, Mr. Durso, who sold it. But think about it. If that person didn't have an agent that got them to buy, that's $165,000 worth of equity that's wasted. Okay. I would like to have everybody be able to reverse engineer the buy process and have the determination. This is not the point of today, but this is the determination part. Is you have a buyer looking to buy in Avenel, where Rob Durso's office is, and they have a budget of X. We should reverse engineer that and say, look, there's only 2 homes that have sold in the past 3 months that meet that criteria, right? So either A, when that one comes on, you need to be prepared to jump on it, or B, you need to be able to change your criteria. Now, for those of you who don't know, my background is in lending. That's where I started out my career. And a lot of times, we'll have somebody say, I don't want to spend more than 500,000. Okay. And I see Tiffany shaking her head. When somebody says they don't want to spend any more than 500,000, like, that's such an arbitrary benchmark, isn't it? What really matters is like what their payment is, what their down payment is. But they don't know any better. So they're like, I need to find a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. I'm not going to pay more than 500,000. Well, that makes absolutely no sense, because you know what? You can buy in one area and the taxes can be 14,000, another area can be 9,000, right? But most lenders, they don't go deep in that, right? Most agents don't explain the difference and how much more they can get by purchasing in a community with a different tax value. A lot of times they might be looking at, townhouses and single families. Does the qualification, Tiffany, matter if you're buying a townhouse versus single family?
So it might, because of pricing. If you're buying a single family versus condo townhouse, the pricing might be a little bit different, but that's where you have to show.
What about the HOA?
And the HOA, sure, the HOA could throw them into a different direction as well.
Now, I would say it's kind of silly in most cases, but if you buy a house with an HOA and you have somebody that mows your grass and shovels your snow, and sometimes they even include some basic utilities like water and sewer, because it's in an HOA versus if you pay it on your own. If you pay that on your own, Tiffany, does that count in your ratios? No.
No, but sometimes in my experience, getting your grass cut on your own and dealing with sewer and water on your own could be far less than what you're paying on the HOA. So sometimes it's not apples to apples.
Right, but it impacts your ability to like, what I'm saying is that we have so much opportunity to educate, Tiffany, and I'm calling on the lenders.
Agreed.
To call out the BS of my price is 550, my price is 600, right? By show of hands, whoever had somebody say, I'm not going to spend more than X, and then spent 20 or 30% more than X.
Right, of course.
Right? It's everybody, right? That number is arbitrary. And I think that our mission, and I'm telling you that there's probably more people from 2000 on that we've interacted with and even made offers with that never got an offer accepted than there are people who close on properties. And it's not a dig, it's just talking about an opportunity. Okay. We had people that came in, you know, they made offers on properties. There were 10, 20, 30 offers. They didn't get it accepted, right? They faded away, and we never sold them a property. When you have a listing, that doesn't happen as much. But these buyers, there's a tremendous opportunity. And the difference is we're not just DDOs, right? Who knows what a DDO is? Somebody must know what that is. Ron, you know that, don't you?
A door opener?
Designated door opener, right? That's what the public thinks that we are. You know, I need Lisa to open the door, but that is just such a fallacy, right? Okay, so maybe go back in terms of perseverance and determination, and even out of your moral obligation, right? Like, to me, shout out to Rob Durso's office. There is one of my wife's, you know, colleagues and friends that now is almost $200,000 richer because one of your agents, you know, fought like hell to get her offer accepted, and she paid 16,000 above the ask price, was nervous as all you know what, right? But now look at her. 580 on a 415 purchase price, less than 2 years. Like, you couldn't do, and she put 3% down, by the way. So she put down like 15,000, and now she has almost 200,000 in equity. Okay, to get that type of return, most of the times it would be something illegal. But you know, here is a really sound, fundamental way to change somebody's life. And you know, they didn't want to pay over ask price. Okay, nobody really does. But it's our moral obligation to be able to find a way to communicate to them. You know, I cringe, you know, when somebody says, hey, Alexa, how much should we offer on this property? You know, and I'm not going to ask anybody for an answer because I don't want to be critical, but sometimes I hear people say, well, I can only give you the comps. I can't tell you what to do. Did anybody ever hear a colleague say that? Right, here's the comps, you know, you have to make a decision on how you want to make an offer. If it was me, you know, I would be, here, I'm going to show you, I'm going to find this. I'm going to show you. Let's see. All right, so if somebody was looking to buy in this area here, so all the homes that sold under 20 days on the market are selling for about 98% of original ask price in this particular market. We have other markets. Here we go. Here's one. With a lot of data, 40 data points in Florida. These condos are selling for 5.2% below asking price if they sell under 20 days on the market. Over 20 and under 90 are selling for a 17% discount. So if I'm showing somebody a particular property, what do you think the probability is that a house is going to sell between 8 and 10% below the original ask price if it's in the first 20 days in this particular community? Probably very high, especially if it's a property that people are attracted to. right? And then there are other examples where this number is 6, 8, 10% above market. And when you're working with a buyer, if you give them this information, you say, hey, Lisa, if you want to be a successful buyer here, where do you think you need to be? Right? And business is math, right? If the last 11 properties that sold under 8 days on the market are selling for 98 to 101 to ask price, Mr. Garver, where do you think you need to be if you want to be successful buying this house in Boonton? You're on mute.
Have to follow what's going on in town, you know, if that's where houses are selling at that 98 to 101. I mean, we have to play in that game.
Yep, and if you moved up from Florida and you have the data from Florida and you're applying that to Boonton, New Jersey, you will be in for a long haul, won't you?
Very long haul.
Okay, so I believe, and I want to deputize everybody to believe, all these buyers that you've had, you know, think about how their life would be changed if they were calling you up and saying that, hey, Rob, I just got rid of my PMI. I can't tell you how appreciative I am that you got me my first house. Right? And part of this mission for determination is knowing your numbers, right? Ryan Piccolo, calling on you. How much more is a homeowner worth than a renter? You gotta unmute yourself there, sir.
A lot.
But you know the stats?
It's because
you know the
10x?
10x?
Could be upwards of $1 million difference.
So I see 40%, I see 10x, I hear a million. So the stats are, and you can even Google it or you can do some research, but it's 40 times. Okay, so it's not 4 times, it's not 40% more, it's 40 times more. Okay, this person that bought my wife's colleague and friend, they put 3% down, and I don't think they had a whole lot more money than that, which was like $18,000. Okay, 2 years later, that $18,000 is worth $200,000. Okay, so the stakes are huge. Business is math. Okay, and I really, you know, I'm not trying to call you out, Ryan, but I think we need to know that when we're talking to buyers, because it matters, right? I mean, not just knowing what properties are selling for, but knowing the benefit of home ownership. And if somebody trusts you and puts you down as their agent, you have a fiduciary duty to get them in that house, and you have to stop the clock. What Mr. Baker says, stop the clock, right? Because the clock runs and the prices keep going up. You keep making landlords rich.
Of course, and I tell people this all the time. I've actually, last year, I think I converted, I want to say at least 3 renters that approached me for a rental. I think my first deal with the company was like a $900,000 condo in Aventura. Called me to help him find something to rent, and between me and the lender that me and my dad work with, we so that's something that I definitely do and am aware of. I think the percentage and the more detailed response is something that I should definitely have off the top of my head. But the idea of converting and you know, talking somebody into making that better decision is always at the forefront.
So and Ryan, I'm going to change your language. It's not talking them into it. It's educating them. Right? Because talking them in my opinion, is I'm playing pickleball, trying to hit the ball over and try to win, as opposed to educating them and letting them decide if that's what's right for them. Okay. And, everybody that's on this, who's in real estate because they believe and love real estate, right? Who's in real estate because they love to help people, right? So if you believe in the product and you love to help people and you have a high moral integrity, okay, forget about your checkbook. You owe it to your clients, the people who are trusting you for advice, to be able to give them the accurate information. And Ryan, I know you probably didn't mean it as convince them, but you need to educate them and let them determine if this is right for them, and then they will make the right choice a lot better. And even though prices might have dropped a little bit in Florida in certain areas, but if you bought 2.5 years ago and you had a 2.87% interest rate, even if the price of your unit went down by 3%, you're still feeling pretty good about it because you paid the loan down for 3 years, right? You're now in the home ownership game. Okay. So look, as a stock advisor, the stocks are at all-time highs. But if you're a young man like Ryan, you're not going to want to put your retirement account in treasuries. You're going to want to put it into stocks. And there will be a time, Ryan, that stocks go down, but that doesn't mean that you don't invest in them. Okay. Because over the long haul, you're going to be way ahead of the game. Okay.
I use the one a lot where you calculate what that lease is going to cost you for the year, and then show down payment and what it would cost you right now, and what options are available, grants, hometown heroes, stuff like that. So yeah.
Yep. So I'm calling everybody out to get in your database, to talk to people that would list you as, their current or their former real estate professional of choice. And if they haven't bought a property, to bring them in and have a different conversation. Okay. And, go on to Copilot, ChatGPT, or Gemini and ask it to say, here, we'll do this together for a second. And this is how easy this is.
Rob, you could use the microphone on the bottom of your screen too.
Okay. I don't know if it might be a little bit wonky with it being on Zoom. So look at it. So I put that in. So purchasing your first home is a monumental milestone, one that carries profound implications for both your lifestyle and financial well-being. Beyond the pride and sense of accomplishment that come with owning a home, there are numerous lifestyle and wealth advantages that make this investment particularly rewarding. Here we explore various benefits associated with buying your first home, highlighting how it can enhance the quality of your life and build substantial wealth over time. For example, if you purchase a home for $300,000 value increase, you have gained $100,000 equity built through mortgage payments, tax benefits, leveraging home equity. And this might just reinforce your own mindset into, what conversations we should be having. Here, I'm going to do this. I do, Let's see what ChatGPT says to that. Why do people mistakenly choose to rent when they can afford to buy a home? While renting may offer certain conveniences and perceived flexibility, the long-term advantages of home ownership, including stability, equity, building, and financial security, often outweigh the benefits of renting. By addressing misconceptions about affordability, gaining knowledge and support, and considering more long-term implications. So, like, I mean, this is just, you know, a lot of times when people call us, say they want to buy a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath townhouse in Rahway, New Jersey, you know, we just start talking to them about, oh, here's what's on the market. And then we open the door to show it to them instead of, you know, making sure that it's the right choice for them. Did anybody on this call ever advise somebody not to buy? And would you ever advise somebody not to buy? Robert Garver. So why would you advise somebody not to buy when you get paid by selling houses?
Because as I sat with them as they were getting ready to move forward to buy something, and in talking to them, it became apparent that they were really concerned about whether they were going to be able to pay for a house and buy food to put on the table. And I just said to them, look, you know what? This is too tight for you. I think we really need to reevaluate this and see if we can figure out a way to make it more workable for you.
And that happened a lot too, Robert, when we had those no verification loans, right? Where many of your colleagues got people to buy houses that they utterly couldn't afford because they got them a commission. But I commend you for that. And Bobby Golden, you had raised your hand.
Yeah, sometimes you know something about a property where it's just not a good fit for the person. I agree with what you're saying, Rob. We're in the business to sell homes, but also I don't know how to say, but a bonding moment with the client is where you look at him and say, you know what, here's something that's a concern to me, or here's something I know about the property or the neighborhood, and it's really not what you're looking for. That when you talk to somebody candidly like that and give them advice, I find that they like you even more.
And you know, I know you're and almost everybody here are integrity and reputation is worth more than one commission check.
Sometimes it also depends on their life cycle.
Yeah, our integrity and our integrity is worth more than any commission check. And then somebody said about lifestyle. Another thing I was looking towards is if somebody's planning on, you know, leaving and doesn't want to be a landlord, you know, the cost of buying and selling might outweigh the benefits of owning, right? And if we're the fiduciary that we're obligated to be, we need to have that honest conversation. And I know we're at time, but I know that many of you have shared stories where you told somebody, hey, now is not the right time to buy. And you've had their coworker, their relative, 5 people referred to you. They're like, oh my God, this agent was so honest. They told me now wasn't the right time to buy. I couldn't believe it. You have to work with him or her, right? And I see by the smiles on your faces that a lot of you have lived through that experience, right? So, you know, I almost feel like a preacher moment here, but it's time to go and serve. Call the people that, you know, haven't, you know, had the privilege of buying properties or educating them on the benefits of it, so that we can do the Zig Ziglar thing, and we'll live an abundant life by getting everybody else what they rightfully should be doing, what they rightfully want. So I think, you know, one of the next few sessions will be my reverse engineering the buyer process, because we all, and I mean all of us, have people that, you know, wanted to buy a house that have exited the marketplace either because they don't believe it can happen to them. They think because the interest rates are too high, They think because they missed the boat that they're going to wait and not buy now. And many of those, they need our leadership. They need our education. They need our skills and knowledge to make the right decision for them. And if it's not the right decision for them, follow, your peers here who say, hey, I appreciate your time. I know now might not be the right time for you. You can't afford it. You're going to be moving soon, whatever. But we need to have those conversations. We need to persevere. We need to be determined to, help as many people as we can. And then we'll all be on that platinum club or higher, right? We'll be, making that abundant lifestyle that we deserve. And we're going to feel really good about it because we help so many people. So have a wonderful weekend for our family in Florida. I'll be down there next week. Hopefully I'll get to see you. And for those of us up here in the Northeast, at least it's not freezing today. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Bye-bye,
Rob.